Edith, the Daroff, as well as the Uranus on the opposite side by denying some of their regen. But this is going to be the debut of Jungle Daroff on the MPL stage, day 2, and we're already seeing some really exciting stuff.
Oh boy, what a way to kick things off for day number 2. An exciting lineup and the composition coming in from Suhaz and Homebois, steady as ever, playing to their own traditional style. I mean, this has to be one of the best matchups we've seen so far. Let's see as we go in towards that land of dawn. This is going to be one more time as we look at the team compositions from either side. We have Suhaz Esports on the blue side with a full lineup ready to fight, ready to go into the middle of the war. If you look into the side of the Homebois, they can split, they can skirmish, but most importantly, they want to get and overwhelm the odds. Homebois ready to wreck. Let's get into the land of dawn.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you don't leave your seats. If you want a snack, grab it now, because in just a few moments we're going to be immersed in some intense MLBB action and you don't want to miss a single second. This Daroff jungle is something that I'm very interested in watching, because if you had asked me before this, what is one hero that I think teams are going to pick up that you might not expect, I would have actually said Daroff. This hero recently, after the buff, does a stupid amount of damage.
I would agree, and you know, putting him in the jungle allows him to get those early levels very early on, allowing him to naturally be stronger in terms of raw base stats compared to his opponents. But now you can see Box, he's instantly going for this invade, and he's got the team to work with him to steal away the bugbear. He's not taking both of his buffs, and he knows for a fact that Chibi is not going to be able to contest it.
I like this aggressive movement from Suhaz Esports. They know with a Daroff in the jungle, there is not much that Chibi is going to be able to do against him pre-level 4. The amount of damage coming out from this fighter hero is just not something you can compete against. In the bottom lane as well, Anif taking quite a fair bit of damage. This is not an ideal matchup for a Beatrix, because Koopa can just frontline for Popol the entire time.
Absolutely, and especially when you are using something like Renner, like Popol just blocks the damage and then regens afterwards, which is a little frustrating to deal with. So on the bottom side, it is going to be a losing matchup unless Boxia can make all the difference. And Eevee, if he holds strong against Irfan with his Uranus, which is very likely for him to do unless there's some outside interference. Oh, wait, we're seeing movements coming in from the Homebois here. Chibi making his way up to the top side of the map. I don't think he really wants to mess with the Uranus, especially since he doesn't have his first item.
Another thing to mention about the draft from Suhaz here is actually it's really smart, because, oh, hold on, before we get to that, Cypher gonna get caught out first blood, even though he drops down to revitalize, not enough to keep the Baxia alive. Suhaz Esports already claiming their first kill of the game.
Yep, and that's the stupid amount of damage we're talking about. Once he is charged up and has his empowered abilities, you just don't expect that ult to deal so much damage when you're below 50% health. An easy turtle for the side of Suhaz Esports as they rotate back down. Turtle slain, and we can celebrate that with Nescafe.
So far, Box performing pretty well on this Daroff jungle. I think this is actually a hero that suits his style quite a bit. We saw in the previous seasons that he ventured a little bit into jungle Aldous, but now he has a hero that does a similar thing without as much farm. Oh, another kill as they invade into the enemy jungle. Not even enough time to point out the first blood bounty.
Oh, Edith, this is one of the few moments where Edith just feels so good. Getting a good onward into an Earth Shadow combination, slowing them down just enough for Daroff to get the last bit of energy he needs for an empowered attack. Now, Seifel can only help Anip at this point of time, which opens up a huge door for Suhaz Esports to attack Chibi in his own jungle. So, Homebois, they've got to really decide on where they want to place their resources.
This is something very important about picking heroes that have an advantage in your lane nowadays, because if you're not able to win your lane on your own, it means you have to pull another member of the team to help you out. And if the roamer is not there to help out the jungle, it sets up situations where the enemy jungle can invade, steal buffs, and take kills.
Oh, an exciting 3 minutes all and 37 seconds starting off this game so far. But hey, quick technical pause. Hopefully they can, you know, get a solution for this real quick before we get back into the games. But so far, what do you think about Edith? We haven't seen her use her ult just yet, but the ace has been getting some really nice catches. And as you mentioned before, Daroff doing a stupid amount of damage.
Now, personally, I myself don't really like Edith as a roaming tank. I personally prefer playing her in the side lane EXP laner. However, no one can deny the ability of the hero to set up kills. As you mentioned, if they get the onward Earth Shatter combo, it easily sets up kills for the rest of your team. The only problem with the hero is that you do need other members of your team to be able to fully take advantage of it if you're going for a full tank build. That, however, isn't really a problem with this draft that Suhaz Esports has come up with. The Deer of Jungle is able to start fighting very, very early on.
But that's the thing, right? Homeboys don't get strong until later, unless they can dedicate their resources to help bottom side for a majority of the time, inclusive of Chibi actually rotating to that side of the map and sacrificing these early turtles. I don't think it's going to happen. It feels like Chibi is trying to do too many things at the same time. He needs to make sure, oh, Irfan is able to get out of lane so he can start applying pressure on his side of the map, go down bot side, protect his Beatrix, and most importantly, look for that counter jungle. It's not an easy task, and I don't think he's really going to get ahead until about mid-game. So I'm guessing 8-9 minutes around there.
Yeah, something that gives you a lot of advantage in the current meta of ML is how independent your hero picks can be. The less help they require from the rest of your team in the laning phase, the more presence you can exert over the enemy team towards the first few minutes of the game. And in these first few minutes, we're already seeing Suhaz Esports exert their presence onto the enemy jungle simply because their laners don't need any help.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you can see the Ace, he's literally helping AJ clear up that wave, and Vince can only do so much. He doesn't have priority of that mid lane. It's becoming a problem. However, we are seeing a beautiful kill down on bot side. Syphil is going to be trading his life as the Earth Shatter does connect, allowing Box to secure that kill. Anip is still healthy, so it's going to be a quick trade for a gold laner over a support.
Now, normally you would consider that was a trade in favor of the Homeboys because they got the gold laner, only losing their tank in return. However, that is another kill going over to Box, who is already level 8, 2 levels up on the enemy Hayabusa with a 3-0 KDA. You cannot afford to allow him to snowball any further.
Here we go. Syphil is going to be rolling in with a shield unity. There's nothing much he can do, but that ult already chunks him out. 30% of his HP gone in an instant. Empowered. And there you have it. Dyrod doing so much as Chibi looks to try and pick up AJ, but its rage does not connect as both flicker out of there just in time. Quick fingers coming out of AJ to minimize that damage. Good play from Suhaz Esports.
I am really loving the rotations coming out from Suhaz right now. We expressed some doubts about this team earlier before the draft even started, but they're already proving that they have what it takes to stand with these teams on the latest MPL stage. They are currently 2,000 net worth up on their opponents already, and Chibi, on his signature Hayabusa pick, has not been able to get any kills.
Yeah, I mean, so far Chibi is very item dependent on this Hayabusa. He needs his first item at the very least to really start putting on the pressure. Anip unfortunately cannot keep this up, and now Suhaz has shifted their attention from Turtle down to this bot side to unlock him. They're locking down Syphil with the I'm Angry, but they've already got the knock up of the onwards. Here comes Vince to try and change the tides of the battle, but the Ace, he quickly goes on. Can he get out? No, he dies in Phalanx form as they pick up 3 kills for 1 in favor of Suhaz as they chase down the last couple of members. Even Eevee coming down to rotate and catch them off. Well done as bot side tier 1 collapses.
That is a massive trade in favor of Suhaz Esports, getting 3 kills and a tier 1 tower only for the Ace's life. And for a moment there, it actually did look like he could get out. All things considered, Suhaz are now fully in the driver's seat of this game, and Homeboys have been put in a very unfortunate situation of having to rely on their heroes to scale up.
Yep, they're already 1 step ahead of the Homeboys as they find a pick onto Irfan early on into that matchup. Eevee is continuing to be a nuisance, calling to the rest of his team. He's got 3 members on top of him, flickers out of there. Little bit of HP, ends up dying anyways, and they will sacrifice this turtle. They can potentially break open the mid lane if they want to, but the minions won't get there in time. So now it's going to be a 3v3, potentially 4, as Vince could get into this fight. They start off with Boxia dropping his Box managing to steal away the turtle, and the rest of the Homeboys are scrambling for control.
Yep, and they're not quite done yet, forcing the revitalize. Not enough. Godlike streak getting taken by Box. The ultimate instantly executing the enemy. Baxia Irfan going to be able to escape from their clutches, but that is the Diraf damage we have been talking about. It does not matter if you are a tank hero. There's just too much armor reduction on this hero's abilities.
Dairoth just absolutely shreds this. Oh my goodness. Unless you've got Anti-Cuirass, I think that's the only effective armor item that might even keep you alive long enough. But honestly, with the amount of bursts we're seeing from the side of Suhaz Esports, there's just no time. They've got a 3K gold lead, pushing up to 4, and now Homeboys, the only way they're going to turn this around is if they drag this on for late game.
They're gonna be fully reliant on ensuring that Vince is able to get that farm. The question is whether or not they can hold on long enough, because even if they try to wait and scale up on the Sicilian and the Hayabusa, the enemy team, HYHY, on the Popol and Koopa is going to start getting some major DPS as well.
Oh boy, here we go. Irfan already having to get pushed out of the lane. His EV is just way too much for him, allowing Box to take away that tier 2. However, even the orange buff is getting taken away. Oh, Anip! He finds a great opportunity, forcing the black shoes out of AJ here as he gets deep into enemy lines. Flickers over the wall as the Ace quickly having to use his ultimate to get out of there. The Primal Wrap might not be enough as RNG was not on his side. Box gets into the middle of the fight, but Chibi with no Oki Shadow kill is left out to dry. There you have it. It's going to be a double kill for Box.
And it's a 2-for-1 trade. Not too bad for the Homeboys, but once again, Box continuing his legendary kill streak, 9-0 on the debut of Jungle Diraf. I get the feeling we're going to start seeing this in pubs very soon, and I am not very happy about it, but I'm sure Suhaz Esports fans are feeling ecstatic right now.
Yeah, they are absolutely feeling it right now. Dairoth is looking real good against the Homeboys lineup, who don't have any way to stop this early game aggression, and the only way they had that was with Irfan and Anip, who did not have favorable matches in their own lane. So this is just the result of the draft so far. 9 minutes in, Suhaz with a 5K gold lead, and the First Lord should be falling into their hands, but you can see how much Uranus is just tanking the damage so far on that top side. 3 members dedicated to take him out.
The Lord will fall in favor of Suhaz Esports, which once again, guys, make sure you guys check out the Samsung Galaxy A52s 5G. But now with the Lord pushing down bot lane, I don't think Homeboys will have too much problem defending this. It is, after all, an unbuffed regular Lord. But looking at how the trend of the game is going so far, Homeboys just simply don't have the resources to be able to straight up take fights against Suhaz Esports.
Yeah, they really don't, and unfortunately, I think Box is in a position where he can 1v3 his opponents now that he got the Bloodlust Axe on top of everything else. So he has Sustain, he has Damage. Bennett's Rage comes down to clear up the waves as soon as possible. With the help of Sicilian, this Lord should go, but they can't afford to lose an inhibitor turret. Eevee is going to send himself forward as Cypher puts down the Toys Poissons early on, as well as the Rejuvenate. They even are dedicating Beatrix, who is great at stalling out the games with Nibiru's Passion. Those waves are still crashing in those. Irfan pushes them back. Can they fight anything here as Chibi goes right into the fight with the Oki Shadow kill? He can take his shadows, quad shadows backwards, and that is a good defense coming in from the Homeboys.
That was actually really unfortunate for Chibi, though. Koopa tanked almost every hit of his ultimate. That would have actually been enough to help secure a couple kills, since Suhaz Esports were already so low on HP, but sometimes RNG simply isn't on your side. Now, with only the inhibitor turret standing for the side of Homeboys, this is going to be an upwards battle. Are they able to defend their base long enough to get Vince his damage?
Yep, Vince is still trying to scale. He even has Mystery Shop. Right now, if we're looking at the items, he has 2 items, which is a good position. But looking at Suhaz Esports with their extra 6K in their bank account, you can see some of the more ahead members like HYHY, 3 items in the wakes. AJ, who's a little bit behind, but he's getting up to that 3rd. Eevee, clearly comfortable, just roaming around and continuing to open up the map for Suhaz.
Box has 9k net worth in comparison to GV, who is only on 6k. And when we saw Vince, he actually has less personal net worth than the Ace. So this is not looking good for the Homeboys right now. They need to be able to find and secure pickoffs. But this is where the draft of Suhaz Esports comes into play. This is really, really smart. They have 2 tankier heroes, and even the squishier heroes on their side, like Popol and Koopa and Lilia, have tools to ensure that they don't need to tank too much damage or have ways of surviving it, which renders a lot of the heroes on the side of the Homeboys kind of useless.
Eevee has been taking way too much damage. He uses the consecration early on just to tank through as much, but GB can't really put a dent in him at this point of time, not even bringing him down, only by 10% of his HP, which Eevee naturally regenerates it back up to full. It's frustrating, but this Luminous Lord is something that Homeboys cannot give away to Suhaz.
Yeah, and we can see that they're grouping up as 5 right now. They want to see if they can contest this. Eevee going to scout them out, gonna encounter Cypher very, very soon. So now both teams are aware of each other's presence. But Suhaz, they don't really mind at all. They are still looking for farm all across the map.
Yep. Seifel doesn't mind taking all this damage coming in from AJ because he's eventually going to run out of stacks. If he forces AJ to use his Black Shoes early, that's going to be a significant advantage for the side of the Homeboys. But Suhaz, very disciplined as ever, holding on to their abilities, not dedicating too much, as AJ will use his Black Shoes early on to try and rush down this Lord. Here comes Seifel. Does he know? He realizes it's quick as Eevee tries to split the fight into 2. On up in the backline is Irfan looking straight for HY. Eevee has lost his position, but Dyroth is just a little too strong. JB is the next to fall down after the Oki's shadow kill, and Vince cannot get away from the onward push from the Edith. The rest fall in soon. That's the end of the story there for Homeboys. 4-0 with the Lord slain as well.
Somehow, inside all that chaos, Irfan was able to land the last hit on the Lord, so they don't have to deal with that. But now Anif, as one man, has to deal with the full team of Suhaz pushing in. Guess what? He's gone. Killing spree going over to HY. A wipeout onto the enemy team secures the very first victory for Suhaz Esports.
Great decision making there. Great.
In order to deal with, and we can see that 12 of those 60 situation where you have to build, someone can contest it. It is going over to Box from Suhaz Esports with the incredible